in this video, I'm going to show you how to work with the different selection modes inside Photoshop. And right at the end, when we are wrapping up the tutorial, I'm going to show you these two features right here, which is very important for you to learn when you are getting into graphic design. So if anyone over here is trying to learn Photoshop for graphic design, these two options are definitely a must. So I'm going to show you how to work with those and also with the different selection modes inside Photoshop in this video. Okay, let's get started. Now, there's a difference between selection modes and selection tools. Your lasso tool, polygonal lasso, quick wand, magic wand, selection, all these are different selection tools, whereas selection modes are right here. Okay, now there's going to be 4 selection modes, but mainly 2 of them, or actually 3 of them, are super important. Now by default, you're going to be in the new selection. Okay, so that's going to be good. And basically this means that you can keep on creating different selections from scratch. So basically they are new selections. Okay, that's what it means. I'm going to create a new document so you can see a little better right here. This is what happens when you create a new selection, and if you click somewhere else, you're going to erase your previous selection and create a new selection. Now what happens is, most of the times when you will be working with Photoshop, you won't get your perfect selection in one shot. Okay, rarely it happens that you just make a selection and it's like perfect. Okay, you don't need to do anything to it. Rarely that happens. Most of the times you'll have to, make some changes to this base shape that you create. Now, just so you can understand, I'm doing this on a white paper. Okay, but most of the times you'll be doing this on some kind of photograph. Okay, so we basically have created our base shape. This is going to be our base shape. Now, say if I wanted to add to it, right? Say something that something is over here and I forgot to add to it, to my selection, right? In my base selection. So I can change my mode from new selection to add to selection. Or you can do one thing is, you can do this with a keyboard shortcut, and that's what I prefer, is to hold on the shift key. This is something that you'll be using a lot of times. So I really recommend that you understand and remember the keyboard shortcuts for this. So if you hold on the shift key, you're going to be temporarily switching to your add to selection mode. So if I was to create this right here, you can see we are not losing our base shape, yet we are adding to it. So we are basically making some changes, right? Now, the third important part about this is that we have to remove from selection. Sometimes you're gonna select something extra, and you'll have to remove from that selection. So if you hold on the Alt key, you can see that your mouse pointer changes. The mouse pointer changes, and you have that minus icon. So that is going to be basically saying that you're going to remove from selection. Now right now it looks as if nothing is happening to the selection, but basically the eyeballs that I'm cutting, like the eye shapes, those are going away from the selection. See that? We created a basic face cartoon in absolutely no time. Now, most of the times you won't be using the intersect. Intersect is something that you hardly use, but I still want to show you how can you use it. And I just want to give you some examples where you can use it. So first things first, I'm going to create a selection. In intersect, you can't really do without anything if you don't have a selection. If you change your mode to the intersect mode, basically if you have 2 selections and they are overlapping, the part which intersects, right, the part which is getting overlapped, that much part is going to remain. So if I was to let go now, you can see that peach shaped part remains. So that's basically how you use the intersect tool or the intersect mode. Last but not least, I want to show you how to work with these 2 options. Now, basically you're going to work with these when you already have made a selection. I'm going to create a new layer right now. I'm going to create a new circle. Friends, if you want to create a new circle, just hold on the shift key when you are in the elliptical marquee mode, right? That's going to create a new circle for you. Perfect. Like that. If I was to go to edit, fill, basically what I'm saying to Photoshop is that I'm going to fill this much part with some kind of color. Now there are some advanced options over here like pattern, history, content aware, but this is really not important for the beginners right now. So I'm going to skip these. Let's focus on these 3 options. Foreground color basically means that you're going to fill this selection up with any color that is loaded in your foreground chip right here. So you can see right now I have red color. If I was to click OK, the whole selection will get filled with red color. You can control the opacity. The opacity basically means the intensity of the color. Actually not the intensity, but it basically means how much of the selection is a see-through. So if you keep it at 100% opacity, this is going to get fully opaque and you won't be able to see anything through the circle. On the other hand, if I was to keep it to 50%, and if I was to click OK, you can see that we get that slight light shade. That basically means it's going to be a see-through. If you don't believe me, let me just show you let me just show you an example. Increase the font like this, like that. And if I was to bring this TJ style layer below my circle, then you can see that we get that slight like that circle shade. That basically means that it's a see-through circle. Sorry. So that's how you work with the fill command. You have lots of more options with fill. I'm gonna delete the circle, create a new circle like this. Go to edit. Okay, for some the reason why the fill option is faded out right now is because I've selected the wrong layer. Layers are very important inside Photoshop, friends, so you always have to make sure that you are on the perfect layer in your document. So I'm going to create a new layer. Now go to fill, and now I can even go for a background color. And this third option, color, basically means you get to select whichever color you want to fill. So if you want to go for like something like this, like a light blue, click OK. That's what you get now, right? So depending on what you like, you can use this. Next in line we have stroke. Stroke is also kind of cool. Let me show you this. I'm going to create a new circle. Once again, I shouldn't have deleted that one. Anyways, it's okay. Go to stroke, and to be like, in all honesty, friends, I don't really use stroke a lot. I have used it in the past, but I don't really use it a lot. So I haven't assigned it a keyboard shortcut. So if you are going into keyboard shortcut, you don't really need to assign one to stroke unless you use it a lot. Stroke basically means I'm gonna create a stroke around my circle, or basically any kind of selection. If I was to create like a rectangular selection right now, like this, I can use this on a stroke too, right? And this first option basically means how much of a stroke you want. I'm going to go with 5 pixels. Color, I'm going to keep this one. Now this is the location. This is like you want the stroke inside of your boundary or of your selection. You want it outside, or you want it in the center. Center basically means that your selection is going to stay in the center. So it's like it's kind of like a blend between inside and outside. You can control the opacity, play around with the blend modes. Blend modes is going to be a full new tutorial because it's a fun thing, very interesting, but this is something that you still don't need to learn. It's very easy, but still, right now just focus on understanding the fundamentals. I'm going to click OK, and there you see, created a basic stroke. So this is really important when you are creating graphics for web or for video editing or for any such reasons. So this was my tutorial on how to work with the different selection modes inside Photoshop.